Have you ever had a brilliant idea for an app, only to hit that first massive roadblock? Do I build it for iPhone or for Android? Well, what if you didn't have to choose? Today, we're going to talk about a technology called Flutter that's changing the game, letting developers work smarter, not a whole lot harder.
So, to really get why Flutter is such a big deal, you first have to understand this huge headache that developers have been dealing with for years. I like to call it the two-app problem.
The issue, really, it's simple, but it's super expensive. If you want your app on everyone's phone, you've traditionally had to build two completely separate versions. One for iOS, another for Android. That's double the code, double the teams, and yeah, double the chances for things to go wrong.
Let's just break this down for a second. The old way means two code bases, often two different teams speaking two different programming languages. You want to change something simple, like a button color? That's two separate projects you have to update, which is just slow. But Flutter, well, it suggests a much simpler way.
And this is exactly where Flutter comes in. It's the elegant solution to that messy two-app problem we were just talking about.
So what is Flutter, exactly? Well, it's a UI toolkit that comes straight from Google. But the most important part of that definition, the real magic phrase, is from a single code base. I mean, for years, this has been the holy grail for developers. Write your code one time and have it run everywhere.
This is the core promise right here. You write your code just once, using a language called Dart, which also comes from Google. Then Flutter takes that one code base and works its magic, compiling it to run beautifully not just on phones, but on the web and even on your desktop.
Now, you might be thinking, hey, I've heard this before. And you're right. Other frameworks have tried to do this. But many of them are basically just a web browser squeezed into an app, and that can feel sluggish. Flutter's secret sauce is totally different. It actually draws every single pixel on the screen itself. It doesn't ask the phone's native system to do it. It takes full control.
And what do you get with that kind of control? Performance. Pure speed. Because Flutter is drawing directly to the screen, it can hit a super smooth 60 frames per second. That's what gives apps that slick, buttery smooth feeling when you're scrolling. No stutter, no lag.
Okay, so Flutter is efficient, and it's fast. But the one feature that makes developers' jaws just hit the floor is something called hot reload.
Oh, the pain. If you've ever done any kind of development, you know this cycle. You make one tiny change, hit save, and then you wait. And you wait some more for it all to compile and reload. It just kills your creative flow.
Flutter just blows that whole cycle up. With hot reload, you hit save, and poof! The change appears in your app on your phone almost instantly. And the best part, the app doesn't even restart. You can be deep inside a menu, make a change, and see it update right there without losing your place. It's a total game changer for productivity.
I love this quote because it's the perfect way to describe the feeling. Development stops being this slow, clunky process. Instead, it feels creative. It's interactive. You add a splash of color, you move something over a little, and you see the result immediately, just like a painter dabbing at a canvas.
So how does Flutter actually pull all this off? How does it enable this fast, creative way of working? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but powerful idea, and it feels a lot like playing with Legos.
This is the #1 rule you have to know. In Flutter, everything you see on the screen is a widget. A button, that's a widget. The text on the button, also a widget. Even the stuff you can't see, like the layout that centers everything on the screen, yep, that's a widget too. So you end up building your app by putting these little widget blocks together. You start small, right? You take a text widget. Then you wrap that inside a button widget. Then you take that whole thing and put it inside a layout widget to position it. You just keep stacking and nesting these pieces until you've built your masterpiece. It's so intuitive.
Okay, so we've seen the big problem that Flutter was born to solve, and we've looked at some of the magic that makes it work. Let's just quickly recap the key things that make this such a revolutionary tool.
It really boils down to these 3 things. First, the incredible efficiency of having one code base to rule them all. Second, that lightning-fast development cycle thanks to hot reload. And third, the super flexible and powerful design system where everything is just a widget. That's the Flutter Revolution in a nutshell.
You see, Flutter isn't just another toolkit. It's really a new way of thinking about how we create things. It takes away so many of the old frustrations and opens up a ton of creative possibilities. So the real question isn't just what you're going to build, it's what problem are you going to solve first?